Latin America, they sure have left their mark on the world. With such an influential culture in today's society, with stuff like reggaeton from Puerto Rico, or all of the Mexican food that we all love, and all the countless celebrations that you all know about, like Carnival and Dia de los Muertos. Latin America is filled with distinct countries that are very different from each other, and their presence is well known. Latin America, however, wasn't always full of independent nations, but it was part of larger colonial empires from Europe, these being Spain and Portugal. And so, we'll begin our story of the Latin Americans declaring their independence from Spanish and Portuguese rule with some weird French dude named Napoleon.
I thought that you were talking about Mexico and that kind of stuff, not Napoleon. He doesn't even speak Spanish.
Okay, just give me a break. Napoleon has a lot to do with this. He's done a lot to change the world, not just France.
Okay, prove it. Wait, what happened to my shirt?
Alright, bet. It all began when Napoleon was conquesting pretty much all of West Europe, which includes the Iberian Peninsula, where Spain and Portugal happen to be located. The King of Portugal saw Napoleon coming for him, so he was like, lol bye, and the king escaped with the Portuguese royal family to Brazil in South America, Portugal's American colony. What was really important about this was that the royal family absolutely loved Brazil. They didn't even want to go back to Portugal. The people back home in Portugal though were like, hey, you're the king of Portugal, can you be our king please, thanks? So the king went back to Portugal to rule them, but he also left his son, Dom Pedro, to rule the land. The Creoles, or people born in Latin America of European descent, felt like they were culturally different from Portugal. They ended up creating a party called the Brazil Party, calling for independence from Portugal. Dom Pedro ended up declaring independence for Brazil, and in 1821, Dom Pedro became the first emperor of the Brazilian Empire, free of Portuguese rule. Because of the rather peaceful nature of Brazil's independence movement, the social pyramid that many Latinos across Latin America fought against was kept in the country of Brazil. The social pyramid was organized into 6 main steps. At the top were the Peninsulares, white people who were born in Europe, more specifically in the Iberian Peninsula, hence Peninsulare. Underneath were the Creoles, who were descendants of the Peninsulares, but they weren't born in Europe. Then you have mestizos and mulattoes, people of European and Native American and African descent respectively. And then at the bottom you have Africans and Native Americans. However, a lot of people in different parts of Latin America hated this social structure.
That's really lame.
So this is where we go to Argentina. Meet José de San Martín, a fantastic military leader for the Spanish, decided, you know what? I really don't like this stupid Spanish viceroyalty stuff. So he got a bunch of men to go against Spain. So he went to his home country of Argentina, where in Buenos Aires, there was a resistance against the Spanish monarch, which he quickly became the leader of. He would train his new men and end up capturing the city of Lima in Peru, along with the Chilean government, led by the liberator Bernardo O'Higgins. After capturing the city of Santiago in Chile in February of 1817, San Martín built up a navy in Chile to improve his chances of attacking Lima, and finally in 1821, San Martín was able to achieve his campaign's goal of capturing Chile, and on the 28th of July in 1821, Peru had declared its independence from Spanish rule. This leads us to my personal favorite military leader from this era, Simón Bolívar. Simón Bolívar was born from a rich family in Caracas, Venezuela. He left Venezuela for Spain to get a formal education which he never received while he was in Venezuela. While he was in Europe, he fell in love with the writings of Enlightenment thinkers like Voltaire and John Locke, and revolutionary events like the French Revolution that was still going on at the time. It inspired Bolívar to revolt against the Spanish. So after returning to South America, he helped out José de San Martín in his liberation of Argentina, Chile, and Peru. He went to Haiti, where he asked for assistance in his liberation. Haiti, being a former slave state that was ruled by previous slaves, said they would help him on one condition: Bolívar freed the slaves in Latin America. So being the nice guy that he was, he decided, you know what? I'ma free the slaves. With all these new free people, Simón Bolívar went through the countryside of Venezuela and brought in former slaves to join his army. With his all of a sudden massive army, he was able to capture Bogota, and the viceroy and all the chaos left the arsenal and treasury for Bolívar to claim for himself. He established Gran Colombia, which had all or parts of modern-day Colombia, Ecuador, Panama, Peru, Guyana, and Brazil. The Spanish royalists were kicked out of the land, and Gran Colombia was officially recognized and free of Spanish rule in 1821. Now let's go back up north to a certain someone's favorite country south of Texas.
We're going to build a wall. It's going to be built.
Remember that social pyramid we talked about earlier? Yeah, well, a lot of people didn't like that, so a bunch of Mexicans revolted. It all started with a peasant revolt led by the priest Papa Hidalgo. It was originally successful, but it eventually failed. Good try, Papa. Maybe next time. In 1813, there was another peasant revolt led by another priest, Father Morelos, when he declared independence from Spain. It went on for longer and was more powerful, but ultimately failed in 1815 when Father Morelos was executed and revolutionary fervor died out. Eventually in 1820, when Napoleon got rid of the Spanish king and started a liberal revolution, friggin' Napoleon! Mexico started their own revolution. Many Criollas decided to switch teams and turn against the Spanish, who were giving them all of their power. After a hard-fought war, the Mexican Criollas, mestizos, and other minorities kicked out the Peninsulades from Mexico and Spain. Desperate for mercy, the Peninsulades gave Mexico freedom from Spanish rule in 1821. This now takes us south to Central America. After Mexico became fully independent from the Spanish throne, Central America was inspired to do the same. Central America created an act that declared independence from Spain, and on the 15th of September 1821, the Central American Republic was formed. Today, it makes up the countries of Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, Nicaragua, and Costa Rica, which all eventually split up. They still all have close ties to each other despite not being a country anymore. We actually make the month of September National Hispanic Heritage Month in the United States because of this. Finally, we go to my favorite part of Latin America, the Caribbean. So we're gonna have to fast forward here, and oh god, the United States is here. So Spain was suffering. The once great empire was reduced to the motherland and a couple of islands in the Caribbean and some piece of land in Africa. The US was going through an expansionist period, as always, and threatened Spain to get out of Cuba or else America will declare war. Spain knew they could not win a war with America, but like most great empires, they'd rather accept defeat than to know they surrendered like cowards. The Spanish Armada was reduced to nothing by the US fleet, and Spain had to give up Cuba, Puerto Rico, and the Philippines to the United States, officially ending the days of the once great empire and also liberating Latin America from colonial rule. I hope that you all paid attention and learned a lot from this video. And he actually did not pay any attention at all. Oh my god.